Okay, as you can see, I have all of my cardstock cut out. I'm a little bit cardstock challenged. I would have preferred to have had all the same color in my star, but I had to alternate or get ones that were just in the same family. I have here a note card that tells those pieces that I need to remember, and I'll need to refer to this while I'm putting this together. Remember this? Okay, now I've cut out a lot of my wax paper, but some of it didn't cut out properly. Don't forget when you go to cut out wax paper to change your Cricut settings to custom, and then there is a wax paper setting. Now, one of the things I'm noticing is that you really want to be careful when you put this wax paper on here because there's really not much room for error at all. Matter of fact, I think if Scotch tape will work, I might try to use Scotch tape to put this on rather than any of my other methods that I usually use. So I'm getting my Scotch tape. I'm a little bit concerned that this may not stick to the wax paper. I don't know, but I'm going to give it a try. My Scotch tape. I'll just try right up here in the corner now to make sure all the holes are covered, because you really, like I said, don't get much leeway in this. I'm going to just see if up here if it is going to hold. Of course, I went over just a tiny bit. Okay, I think that's going to hold just fine. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to use Scotch tape. And again, being very careful that all of these little holes are covered up. And it's recommended in the instructions that you do this first before you do any folding or anything like that. And I must tell you that there are pretty good directions that come with this. It's just sometimes some people prefer to have a video instruction rather than just online drawings. But you do get some instructions, definitely, that come with this star. And actually, I think the directions are the same for every star. It's just, they just have different holes. Notice this is the one with the 2 holes. Can you see there's a little hole right here. There's one hole. And then the other hole was the one that was right over here on the edge. So this is the 2-hole one. And if I refer back to that chart, the 2-hole one is piece A. And I will need to know that when I start putting these together because she refers to those as you go. I'm just making sure this is taped pretty well. You have to use tiny pieces because there's not that much, like I said. I'm not sure if I could have enlarged this bigger so it would have been a little easier for me. And I wouldn't have to be so exacting. But it's working. Oops. Now, did you notice the score lines on this? This probably would have cut a lot faster had the score lines been actual score lines. I believe these have been made for different kind of cutting machines, including the Cricut, of course. But since our Cricut has that score tool, it doesn't need to cut like this. But some machines don't have that, so that's why folks like to do the cutting for scoring. One thing I have noticed is that I've used a cardstock that has a white core, and it does show a little bit, so I wish I had not had to use that. But like I said, I don't have that much. So, okay, I have the wax paper on all of my parts. Now what it says for you to do is to take piece number A. So what I did was after I put the wax paper on mine, I went ahead and counted how many holes there were in the various ones, and then I put a label on the back. Can you see that says A right there? So this one was A. This one is B. So I just labeled them so I don't have to think about that while I'm trying to put these together. So what you do is you take piece number A and you turn it over so that the wax paper is down. Okay, the score lines of the wax paper is down. Now you're going to fold every one of these score lines so that they're like on the outside of the star. So I'm folding this one here like this. The hard part is down here at the very edge. You might want to have your bone folder out if you have one. Oh, there's mine. Bone folder just to kind of press that down. Okay, then you go to the next place, and again you'll just press this down. Okay. And then this last little lip right here you will also press in. It's this little lip right here. This little lip. You'll press that in. Okay, then, so all of these things are pressed in as if you're making the outside or a part of the star, which you are. And then next we're going to go on and repeat this for all the pieces. So it doesn't matter in which order I take them now. This is a part B. And I'm just going to begin scoring. Like I said, when you get to the point, I think that's the hardest part. There's that. Okay, and then do this one. The next one. What's this little tiny lip right here that's going to be bent in. And again, got to be careful down here at the point where it comes to the point. So let's see if I can get that nicely in. Okay, I have all my pieces together. Or I should say folded, and I did use the bone folder, and I really like how it made the crease. Now, if you don't have one of these bone folders at home, I'm thinking maybe like a popsicle stick, or surely you can find something else around the house that you could use to just kind of press this down so it makes a really sharp crease. Okay. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to start with letter A again, and you're just going to fold it up like this so it makes a cone shape, kind of like an ice cream cone-ish. Now, if you look, remember, this is the one that had the two little holes. Can you see? There's a little hole, little dent here, and then there's a hole right here. When I put the glue on this long strip that I folded in and match these two up, those two holes should match up perfectly. And that's what we're going to use later when we tie it together. And we also want to make sure when we glue it that these two sides match up perfectly. So I'm going to put glue on here. I believe the person that made this pattern may have suggested that you use hot glue, which would probably be good because it's really fast to dry. But sometimes I make a mess with a hot glue gun, so I'm just going to use my glue here and try to be careful. So. Not a whole ton of it. Now I'm just kind of squishing it around. Okay. Need a paper towel so I can keep my work surface clean instead of wiping it on my pants. Now, as I said, I'm going to wrap this up like this. I'm going to make sure that these two holes match and that these long edges match. You might have used a little bit too much glue because it's seeping out, but I'll just wipe it right off. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to hold this for about the count of 25. It's starting to adhere. Doesn't take long. Just have to be patient, and sometimes I am not. These crafts are making me learn to be patient, otherwise I damage my stuff I'm making. Putting it down, I'm just putting a little pressure on the inside now where those are meeting. Yeah, I have to be careful with the glue because I did put a little tiny bit too much. And even though people say it dries clear, it does leave a little bit of a sheen, and I don't like that. So there's that one down, and a few more to go, 4 more to go. So once again, I'm going to be more careful with my glue this time. I'm not going to put quite so much. And I don't think I'll scoot it over to the edge this time. Do want it all the way down to the point though. Okay, let's see if that's better. So again, I'm just going to put this. Now this one doesn't have any circles or anything to line up. But what I want to make sure is that I have both this long side right here lined up and the top edge looks lined up. Okay. So again, just being patient while this takes hold. I don't know. I must have been one of those really messy kids because I always end up with glue all over my fingers. I see other people making things and they don't seem to end up like this. Maybe I just don't notice. So again, I just have to be patient and do each one of these. Make sure that they're lining up beautifully, and they're doing great. So far, so good. That is number 2. Okay, before I continue on any further, I did need to tell you that I did get better with the gluing, but occasionally I didn't put enough glue. So I used this little glue applicator that I got at Hobby Lobby. It has a really tiny little fine-tipped, you can see it, needle nose, and I could stick that right up in there. Another tip I have for you, if you do have a bone folder or some other object like this, it was really handy to be able to go right inside of here where these two are glued together and just kind of go along here and press down right inside, right up along there. That helped a lot. Okay, so what you have to do now is put these in order. A comes first, and recall A is the one with the 2 holes, and then all of your 3 B's, and C is the very last one, so just put him over to the side. So you're going to take A and hold it in your hand like this. These 2 tabs need to kind of be flared out now. Flare them out a little bit, because what you're going to do is you're going to be putting glue on here, because you're going to take one of your B's and just put it over top of those 2 little lips there, like this, and glue it into place. Now you're just going to do one side at a time. Okay, so I'm going to take and put my glue on here. Okay, spread that out a little bit too blobby right there. And then these are the tabbed parts that I'm putting the glue on, and I'm going to put the untabbed part of part B onto it. So just like this. Get out of the way here. This goes like that, right like that. I'm going to get my hands inside here so I can hold it together. I think if I fold this down like this, it would be a lot easier. Just fold this down flat, make sure it's matching up nicely, and just press. So I'm just gluing on the one side right now. I'm going to hold it for a little bit. Just applying some pressure. And when I think that's had time to set a little bit, certainly not dry, but just set up, I'm going to go to the other side and apply glue onto this, right here if you can see it, this ledge. I got too much glue in there, so I'm going to wipe a little bit of it off. Wipe it onto my table. Okay. And then like this, make sure everything's matching up nicely, and hold that down like that. Okay, it's recommended that after you do 2 of these together and they're glued well and dry, that you take them and the pictures will be in the there'll be diagrams for you in if you buy this to make it. So you have your star pieces like this. You're going to push them together flat like that. Well, mine doesn't seem to be gluing together very quickly, so I've decided to get out my glue gun, and I'm going to use that to glue some of this. So I'm waiting for it to warm up. As you'll recall, I like to use this handy dandy little mug here, so I don't have a stand for it, so I just throw it in there and don't have to worry about if it's catching something on fire or dripping on something important. It's just this little mug. Alright, so I'm going to put the hot glue on this section right here. It probably is a lot easier for this part of the putting together. Like, I can already tell that's way easier. So you may want to get out your hot glue gun for this part. No, you can't quite see what I'm doing. I'm just putting a little bit more glue down here at the very tip where I missed. Okay. There we go. Okay, so now I should be able to fold it the way that she recommends. I think the other side was dry, and it should stay. Okay, there we go. So far we have an A and one B together. Now you must remember which one is the A. It's the one with the holes in it. So we're not going to attach anything to that. I'm going to go to this B one now and attach it to this B. So again, I'm going to flip this little tab out a little bit and this little tab out. And I'm going to take this B where there are no tabs and just fit it. Let's see, now I got to get it oriented right. Fit it like, not that, like this. Okay. So all I'm going to do first is put hot glue on this lip. I'm just going to do one flap at a time. Okay. So this is going to go like that. Need to make sure this other flap stays out. And again, what I should be doing is having this flat down like this to make it a lot easier for myself before the hot glue hardened. Whew, just in the nick of time. Yikes. Okay, that one's done. Now that glue gun works great, except for this one little bit down here that got a little too cool, I think. Put a little bit more glue there. There we go. And there we go. Okay. This side is done. Some glue whiskers. I'm ready to turn it on the other side. So again, I'm going to put the glue on this lip here. I'm about running out of glue. I need to get some more here in a second. Hopefully there's enough for that strand. Okay. Yeah, I definitely recommend the hot glue gun for this part too. It's a lot easier. So once again, we're going to fold all of this up like this. She says that this does something about making it more flexible. I'm not exactly sure why it needs to be more flexible, but maybe I'll understand at the end. Okay, so very pretty. Now remember, this is A with the holes, so these are B's. So now I'm going to bring another B over here. Let me get another glue stick. Okay. All right, let's see now. Let's just lay this down like this. And, well, let's see how this goes first. It's going to go like this. I need to flip these up a little bit. And these with no tabs are going to go on tabs. So I can put it like this to glue it, which does make it a heck of a lot easier as long as I don't get any of these tabs in. You can flip these out. So this is not as hard as what I'm making it look, I don't think. And there, that's going to go like that. And it's going to be pretty. Ooh, I love it. Love the colors. Didn't think I would at first. I was kind of bummed. You know, I think it would be really pretty too if you just did it in solid white. Wouldn't that be pretty? Yeah. You know, I got to pay attention to what I'm doing. So this piece goes on here like that. Perfecto. Yeah. I love the hot glue gun for this, y'all. Make sure you get your glue gun out. Makes a world of difference. So that one little hot glue gun piece I can't get off. There's that. I'll turn it over and put glue on this one. Okay. Beautiful. Open it up pretty quick so you make sure you don't glue anything together you don't want to glue together, like it seems like I've done. There we go, got it. Ooh. No, I didn't. There. Now I've got to repair this. Crafting is fun. I really do like it a lot. And I'm loving this star. Look how cute it's turned. You can't see it. I'll show you in a minute. Okay, you have A, B, B, B all together. You have the opening of the star, the openings, facing you. On the last B piece, the flaps are facing up. Okay, this is the C piece. It's going to go, flaps are going to be on the top again, and the no flap part will be on the bottom. Again, the opening will be towards you. Now, this is where you're going to glue this together, but before you do, the directions recommend that you take a pair of scissors and just cut this last B tab in half on both sides. She says it makes it a little bit easier to work with that way. So it's like this. And again, remember, let's check it out. I'm going to put this down. So I'm going to have this like this. It's going to be facing me. I'm going to take one of these little flaps and fold the blue flap, the last of the B flaps, up into this C. And when I open it up, you can see how nice that's going to be. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to put a little bit of hot glue on this tab. And I hope I can do this with the camera. Makes it a little more tricky woo. So this is going to line up with this, and this tab is going to fold up into there. And before I do any more, I'm going to look to see, does that look right? It sure does. Okay, so now I'm going to put on the second little blue tab that I cut, I'm going to put some more hot glue. Where's that glue stick? I definitely need it now. A little more hot glue here. And fold this one up inside. Perfect. Okay. Now I'm going to repeat the same process, but before I do, let's check and see how it's coming out. Looking good, except for I got a little glue on the outside. Can't really scrape off hot glue very well because it damages the paper. So I need to be careful of how much hot glue I'm using. So again, I'm going to start on the inside, I think this time. A little bit of glue, not too much. Fold this guy up and over like that. See how it's looking. Looks good. And the last tab for here will be folded up and put into there like that after I put some glue on it. Okay, let's see how she looks. Ooh, buddy. See if you can see this. Very pretty. Okay, let's see what else we must do. The last steps.